Around this time last year, I was getting into my off season to prepare for the season I ended up having, and one of the main concerns I had was retooling my form entirely. That's backhand, forehand, and putting. And putting form was actually a really big one for me, and so I kind of did a huge overhaul of my putting form. I made a couple of videos about like everything I did with that around this time last year, but now that I've had an entire season to work with that form and then sort of see where it got me as the year went along, I've kind of come to the conclusion of what I think is the most important cue that I've learned from that, especially considering as the season went on, I did a lot less putting practice, which is definitely fault on my part, but it has kind of shown where the cracks kind of show with my putting form and really illuminates the most important parts of my form that I have to get figured out, because when those kind of fall apart, then my entire putt falls apart. So to preface this video, I want to sort of talk about a little bit about where you get the pop from your putt. So like where you're getting the spin from the disc and how you're propelling the disc forward. This is going to mostly have to do with a push putt or a splish putt, I guess. Not going to really be talking too much about spin putting because I don't spin putt. So if you're a spin putter, unfortunately, this might not be the best video for you, but for all you that push putt, I think this will be very important. So as a lot of people know, and if you don't know, I'll teach you right now, the main way that you propel the putt forward and get power on it and get spin on it is going to be with your fingers on the bottom of the disc. So you're always going to be putting with a fan grip of some sort. You're not going to be holding with a power grip. All that power comes from that little snap of your fingers pushing the disc and getting it to pop up. I know there's plenty of videos out there of Calvin saying he just sits there and, you know, pops his disc up and down like this to get spin and kind of get that wrist action that you need to just let the disc pop out of your hand. So that's sort of a prerequisite for what I'm going to talk about, right? Fingers have to get under the disc and pop it up. So the most important cue that I've found to do that the best way is to think of getting the disc up as opposed to forward. And with that, get your hand to release facing up. I've found that sometimes I'll kind of finish my putt like this or even like this, and that usually results in pretty errant putts, missing low, just kind of all over the place, spraying all over the place. When I get back into a good putting rhythm, I really feel like that palm pointed up is going to be the key to success when it comes to putting. Additionally, you can't just think of your palm coming up because there's a couple other aspects to it that's important. And so when we're talking about making that movement more up and down as opposed to forward and back, we don't want to just pop it forward and then just release like this, because that's not going to do anything. That's not going to give us that up and down motion that we want. So we also want to think about is getting the disc moving upward before it's going forward almost. We want to think of a bit more of a rounded approach, getting it up and then out, as opposed to straight forward. So if you think about sort of the path that your disc goes in when you're putting, let's say I start with my disc out here and I'm putting this way. A lot of people probably just kind of do this. Just in and out, straight line. And that's okay, especially for a spin putt. But what I've found with that is you kind of have to just at the last second get it to pop up, or you just have to get it on that trajectory the whole way to get it to rise up. Probably going to result in a bit more of a nose up putt, which is going to, I have a bit of a headwind coming at me this way. So if I'm putting this way, it's going to get the disc to fly up and hyzer out or fly over the basket. And it's also probably going to lead to a lot more left and right misses because I'm going straight forward. So instead, there's kind of two ways that you can do this. One, you can start with the disc a little bit closer to your body and higher so that that motion is kind of more up. Or the way I like to think about it is you can come straight back, but when you're coming forward, you're kind of popping it up a little bit. So you're not going straight back out, you're kind of popping it up. It's this little bit of arc, where if you were thinking of a straight line out this way, just think of a little bit of a arc and then out. What this does is it allows us to get the disc moving up into the air, and then we can use our fingers on the bottom of the disc to pop the disc up in the air. It creates a lot more of effortless spin and power, and it gives us that up and down motion so that our misses aren't left and right, it's just up and down. All we have to do is deal with how much power we're putting on the disc. So to reiterate everything I just said, really the two most important things are, one, get your hand palm facing up when you're releasing your putt as much as you can. It's okay if it's off a little bit like this. What we don't want to see is releasing like this or with our palm facing down. We want to get under the disc, pop it up, and have our palm facing up. Second thing, we want to get that upward motion coming in early in our arm swing. We don't want to be going straight forward because you kind of feel, you can just feel the disc pushing on your fingers when you're coming up like this, or when you're going forward like this. You just kind of feel it sliding off your fingers. You're losing a little bit of that pop you get from your fingers pushing up on the disc. So I'll kind of try to illustrate a little bit what this looks like. So if I'm just going straight forward like this, you can kind of see how it's just going straight at the basket, not a lot of up and down motion. And you could even see right there, I missed off to the side a little bit. We're not gonna really worry too much about putting it in the basket. We just kind of want a target to throw at. So now I'm gonna get that little bit of up and down motion in my putt, and you'll see it make a bit more of an arc, and it's not gonna have that left and right motion where I'm kind of just spraying all over the place. So that's way more on line with the basket. I'm not thinking too much about missing left and right. I'm not going straight at it. I'm just thinking, here's the line I'm trying to do, right at it, and I'm just popping it up in the air. Right, palm up and down motion to start. We want to see the palm, that was a dead center spit out. We want to see the palm facing up at the end of the putt. That's the main thing you want to think about, is getting that hand facing upward. As the year kind of closed out this year, last couple tournaments I played, I definitely felt like my putting was a big detriment to my game, and a big part of that was just not practicing enough. So like another thing also is just practice your putting all the time, constantly. Like don't get complacent, because it'll just slowly get worse until you realize your putt is just not what it used to be. Where if you're getting in a good amount of putts, you know, even just a couple hundred a week, you're gonna see sort of a maintenance of your good putting form if you had one to begin with. Or if you're not a good putter, you'll probably see improvement. But the other thing with that was I noticed is I started doing this more straightforward putt where I was just going right at the basket as opposed to popping it up in the air. And you'll see a lot of really good putters. I mean, Calvin's one of those people. There are some people that kind of go straight at the basket, more of a spin putt, but you'll see a lot of those people that they're kind of lofting the disc up a little more, getting that up and down motion. And what this also helps with is, you know, if you're a kind of person that misses low and hits the cage a lot, this little bit of up and down is going to get you up and over the cage and into the basket, as opposed to going straight at it, where if you miss low a little bit, you're just going straight into it. I'm not really trying to go straight at the basket. I'm trying to go towards the basket, and I'm trying to give it the right amount of power, but really what I'm thinking about is giving it vertical trajectory overall. So that's kind of like the biggest putting form thing that I have going on right now. It's what I'm trying to keep my mind focused on, to do a lot of putting work this off season, and then keep that going in the next season, and just, you know, not really stop like I did this year. That's all. I just wanted to do a little video on putting. Hope it was helpful. I'll see you next time. Peace.